Well, not me, but my mic.
It won't work.
I had it plugged in, and I don't think it charged.
That's okay.
It doesn't work, it doesn't work.
I got that and that.
There we go.
Clear those things off. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, good. Good.
Cameron, did you get the, candy ordered so we know how much?
Doing it tonight.
Let us know what, oh, yeah.
I brought my wallet in thinking I was ready.
May I take the money now?
Here's why I didn't do it beforehand, I wanted to make sure, the boxes are 6 pounds each for $35, so how many boxes do you want to look at? They're 6 pounds each, so I thought maybe, yeah, no more than 3, I'm thinking.
I'm thinking probably 3. I'm trying to think how much I bought last year. I just ran into Costco and bought it in my bag.
Yeah.
And paid
This
attention.
is probably more economical.
Right.
That sounds
So he
good.
said to ask you, do you post this anywhere?
No, I'm using this for some
That's fine.
other things.
Okay.
Should I give you cash now?
If we don't have enough, we'll put the parade on hold, we'll run out and get some more.
Okay.
Don't have a problem.
We're doing this
If
for
Casey
six
can
times.
entertain them while we're waiting for candy delivery.
Huh?
He wants to be famous, to make it famous.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Float on down to Rome.
Posters. I'm trying to come by tomorrow.
Miranda, did you buy
As long as that wireless is working.
Such a shame.
I thought you were gonna be late, Ann.
I thought it was too.
Okay, we start.
Okay.
Oh, you were holding the meeting for me?
No, it is 7:30. I believe. 7:29, okay, we'll let Ann get stuff down, she's got that. You must have Verizon too, right? They probably are.
But it's not an anti-trust, not an anti-trust. It's all sellers.
Chelsea's
Sometimes people do that. Yeah, most of the time it's later. They're coming back. I've read a lot of your work. Oh, nice to meet you, Jeff. I have
Alrighty, would everyone please rise? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The invocation will be said by Mayor Pro Tem Isley.
Okay, the decisions we make here, is fair and just. Amen. Amen.
Okay, roll call please.
Hackley.
Here.
Ambrose.
Here.
Costanzo.
Here.
Locke. Here. Lublin.
Here.
Osnick.
Here.
Robertson.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Are there any requests for agenda changes this evening?
I got one request, please. I would like to add under new business, discussion of proposed resolution. I believe it would be 2019-31.
Are we having a public hearing first? Are we having our?
Well, yes,
I think we're having a public.
We're gonna do the agenda changes now.
Oh, okay, all right.
Correct.
Okay, in that case, then I have an agenda, an agenda item that I need to put on. This would be a resolution, under new business. And this resolution will be, making an inquiry into a complaint that I have received against a sitting council member. And, I'd like Miranda Gross to hand these out. Yeah, well, she can hand them out now, and then, but this will be new item number 5. Okay,
Number 6.
Number 6?
Yeah, I got you.
Casey's already at
Sorry.
5. Number 6.
I have that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Look at that now. Is there anyone else who'd like to make an agenda change? Alrighty, now we'll go back and we'll do the public hearing. Okay, we're going to open the public hearing for the 2020 fiscal year budget appropriations. So at this time, is there anyone from the audience who, do you want to do anything first, Sandra, or?
No, there's.
Okay, if anyone from the audience would like
We
to
should
address
say
it.
that, we've had X number of meetings and this was all approved at those budget meetings. So this is just a chance for the audience who may
Yes.
have come up and looked at the packet to comment.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how many meetings we've had, but we've had
We've
several.
had 3 meetings.
Okay, no one from the audience has anything to say, so we'll close audience participation and we'll close the public hearing. Now we'll go on, since we've already done our agenda changes, we will have approval of the minutes. I ask for a motion to approve the regular council meeting of April 16th, 2019.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Support?
Okay, we have a motion to support. Any discussion on the minutes, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have a couple edits I'd like to make to the city council meeting minutes. I feel that there's several significant omissions from the record that I'd like to,
Are you making a motion?
I am making a motion to discuss some changes I'd like to make to the
Make a
minutes.
motion on what you want in.
On page 14 of the minutes, I think there's a significant omission to the record. The minutes failed to note during the discussion that I stated during the discussion on the DDA funding of the Tri-A, that if the DDA can fund a project outside the DDA boundary, that the Tri-A neighborhood has had a long-known problem for the money, and that the money should be used here first if we can fund outside the DDA. I moved to include in the record my discussion that if the DDA can fund the project outside the DDA boundary, Decker Road, that the money instead be used in the Tri-A neighborhood to help address the long-known problem. That is nowhere noted in the record, that part of the discussion that I had on that resolution.
So that's your motion?
Yes.
Is there any support for the motion? Okay, the motion dies for lack of support.
I have a second note I would like to note for the change of the minutes that I feel is a significant omission from the record. On page 14, same page of the minutes, I made a specific request for our city charter, chapter 8, section 8.1, for the supporting explanations for the $579,000 requested in that resolution. None of that is noted in the record. I move to include in the record my request made as allowed per the city charter, chapter 8, section .1, for the supporting explanation for the $579,300 requested. I feel it's a significant omission per the city charter.
Is this a motion or what?
Like I said, I move to include in the record, yes.
Is there any support for the motion? Motion dies for lack of support. Is there anything else?
I will note the other significant omissions other than one other.
Is this a motion?
I have a motion, yes, Madam Mayor. During the council comments, I specifically thanked by name the major donors to the Michigan Airline Trailway Project, the Michael Levine Foundation, and the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation. I think that they are significant donors and they should be included in the record as they've given us over almost $2.3 million for the project. I moved them in the record to read and include Councilmember Costanza recognized the Michigan Airline Trailway donors, the Michael Levine Foundation, and the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation. That is my motion.
Is there any support? No support for motion, motion dies. Is there anyone else that wants to address the minutes? Any questions or motions? Okay, roll call on the minutes, please.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Costanzo.
No.
Locke.
Yes.
Lublin.
Yes.
Osnick.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, a motion to approve the minutes for the special council meeting of May 9th, 2019, please.
I'll move for approval.
Is there support? Okay, motion and support. Any discussion or motions on the amendments to the motion?
No, I do have a point of inquiry about the minutes.
You what?
I have a point of inquiry, point of information around the special meeting.
Around the special council minutes?
The meeting itself, yes.
Okay. This is to approve the minutes. It's not to discuss the meeting. If you want something brought up in your council person discussions, you're welcome to do that, but this is not a place to discuss what happened at the meeting.
I understand. I've just heard from several residents who said that they did not know about the meeting, and I was just, point of information was
What
what
does that
public.
have to do with the minutes, sir?
Thank you.
Okay? Anyone else want to discuss the minutes? Okay. Roll call, please.
Costanzo.
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
Lublin.
Yes.
Osnick.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes. Okay. Minutes are approved. Audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council tonight? Yes. Please give us your name and address. About 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Mindy Fernandez, and I live at 45400 West Pontiac Trail here in Walled Lake. And I'm just here to introduce myself. I am the new staff legislative director for State Representative Kathy Crawford. And I just wanted to avail our office to you to see if there's anything that we can do to help you achieve your goals for the great city of Walled Lake. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to address the council this evening?
Yes.
I see your hand in the back.
Go ahead, you first.
Hello.
You're together?
Yeah, we're neighbors.
Okay.
Right, it's come to our attention that the owners of the property in Novi, that's
Wait, whoa, your name and address.
Evan Riskin, 120 Lead Street, Walled Lake.
Okay, and,
Keith Wagner, 127 Lead Street, Wall Lake.
okay, thank you. Now go ahead. I
Okay.
didn't mean to interrupt you.
All right, I'm sorry. It's come to our attention that the owners of the property in Novi that's leasing the organization running Driftwood, they were turned down for a commercial dock in Novi, and the owner that's leasing the property owns the land on the Walled Lake side of the beach, was his residential. And he has leased it to the organization for a dock for the commercial, for the residential, for the restaurant. And our street's opposed to it being used as a commercial dock in Wild Lake for Driftwood and Novi, since they won't let them do it over there. This would create an unnecessary and pedestrian traffic hazard. There used to be many problems there before when it was like that in the road and the beach. It is now very quiet, and thanks for your time on the matter.
Thank you. First, I'm aware of it, I don't know if anybody else is.
You know what, we know that, if you got a letter with your ID and stuff on it, we can call you and get the details and look into your issue.
All right, with our ID, what do you mean?
You can give it to me or anybody you want.
This
You can
letter,
have this
or
letter.
a different letter? Or-
If that's got your stuff, we'll have somebody contact you tomorrow. It's a code issue? Code
It
enforcement?
it could be a potential hazard if they put a dock in the middle of the intersection.
Yeah, there used to be problems with the police over there,
It could be a commercial business located in.
and it's residential area, yeah.
We were gonna look into it. I'm not sure that we need anything more than what you just said. If
Okay.
We now know where it is, we will look into it.
Okay.
We'll probably post it at the next meeting. If there's an issue, we'll do it. We'll get it to code enforcement, please.
All right, you need a phone number, or what do you want, or?
If you got it, I'll take it.
You want, give me yours, and I'll give you mine.
Put a vote down, guys, we'll make sure somebody gets touched.
You want me to call back as soon as we start working on it? I'll give it to the police chief and he'll get it to code enforcement. We have professional code enforcement now with the real authority.
You're right on it.
All right, thank you.
All right, gentlemen, we'll get back to you.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to address? Okay, audience participation is closed. Counselor.
Sorry.
Time out. Council reports. Is there anyone that has a report that they would like to give tonight on committees or anything that's
Well, as far as Great Lakes, the lake trail is coming along nicely. They're fixing it up nicely. However, we still do not have an agreement as far as the new interlocal agreement. That's still on hold.
But we're close. We hope.
Well, it's up to the other two communities what they wanna do, so.
Okay,
It's in their ballpark.
all right.
That's it.
Anyone else has a report on a committee or something?
Yeah, we had a DDA meeting, maybe, it was 16th. I guess one of the main topics of discussion was the actual budget amendment for the Decker Road, sidewalks, that type of thing, and we had several DDA board members that took exception to Councilman Costanza, who was in our meeting, asked no questions.
Point of order, Mayor.
This is council comments, I'm just
He's
giving it.
reporting on a DDA meeting.
Okay,
Showing
that's
us
what took
happened.
place. All right, so their issue was that these comments were made to Facebook and other entities and posted when we have a meeting, and then the meeting's brought back to the council chambers and these questions are asked. When all the information was handled right there, there was an actual breakdown of the monies passed out at that time. And I gave you a copy of it, but to act like there was nothing that you knew about, the members took exception. So I'm just saying that's what took place, and they would ask that if you have questions during a DDA meeting, please ask the questions at the meeting, not bring it to the council like it's never been discussed before. So that's just a breakdown. I don't want to get to all the details of it, but that was pretty much the majority of it, so.
Okay. Anyone else have anything on any committees? Okay, well, through with council report, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor, council members, please move to receive and file our departmental and divisional statistical reports.
Okay, I'd ask for a motion
Move to
to.
receive and file.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a support. Are there any questions on the reports provided by the city manager?
I do, Madam Mayor. On page 45 of the check disbursement report, or there's not a number on it, It'd be page 2 of 24 on the top right-hand corner of the actual general ledger's document. There's a question I have about a $5,971 buyout of Toshiba. I'm not sure exactly what that line is, and I was point of inquiry, what is the almost $6,000 of the buyout of Toshiba?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
yeah, this is not the time for people to perform and call my staff.
I rise to a point of order, Madam Mayor.
What point of order? I'm answering the
He's trying to
question.
answer your question.
I'll answer the question, but this is not about a gotcha. He didn't call ahead of time. It's a very simple
I
explanation.
rise to a point of order, Madam Mayor. That is a personal affront to a council member. I ask that the chair rule whether the point of order is well taken or not. Per page 253, Robert's Rules of Order, lines 6 through 20, I'm asking for a ruling for personal violation of breach of rules. That is a personal affront to state that a council member is performing when I'm asking about an expense that's on a check.
Sir, I have told you and asked you, and you promised to me in meetings, that if you had questions, you would bring them up to the attention beforehand. Nobody has these figures memorized. And the city manager would gladly sit down with you at any point and answer questions as I would.
That's exactly my point, Mayor. We've had this discussion before. I'm not gonna let the staff answer, you come to me. Here's the answer to that. It was a buyback. The expenditure was for our copy machine. We went to a new company. They paid off, so it was a wash. We got 5,000 out, and 5,000 back. Nothing mysterious there. Phone call could have done it without embarrassing staff or anybody else. That's the 5,000. They paid us, we paid them, it's a wash. We changed copy machines because we got a better copy machine. Nothing sinister there, not to raise the question of what's this expenditure is. Phone call would have done it, but he wants to perform.
I rise to a point of order again, Madam Mayor. That is a personal affront. I'm asking the chair,
Sir,
no points.
sir. He answered your question. You give your opinion, he gave his. These questions can be asked at any time. You and I talked about this on several occasions. And we've talked about how if somebody asked you what you spent a check for 2 months ago, you might not remember, but you could look it up.
I rise to a point of order, Madam Mayor. I ask that the quorum be followed. It's a personal affront.
Ma'am, I disagree with you. You've issued your point of order. I disagree. Let's
Mayor,
go.
I'm just going to carry on. Why don't you take a vote to see if that was a personal affront to Councilman Castani? It's absurd. I made my comment just like he does. I didn't call him a bad name. I questioned his motives, he questioned mine. That's a good thing. That's democracy.
Okay. Vote on the motion, please.
Locke,
Yes.
Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Costanzo.
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. City Manager, I received today, and I think when I asked you, you said you had also received an email from Amy Aubrey, who is an analyst with Oakland County, about us receiving, being accepted for an application for road improvement. It's been referred to
Ms.
the,
Aubrey works for the county, and she would be notifying us and other people on the mailing list or whatever of any approval of grants. What you're speaking of, I'll let the Assistant City Manager give you the details, but she's alerting us that our grant was approved. It's a small amount, but it involves a match, and it goes to the county commission for approval at their next meeting, and that's what probably you got as elected officials.
right, I just wasn't sure, and you said that Chelsea could report on it.
Well, let's, what, you got that? I'll go, good luck.
This is a new program for Oakland County. It's only been going on for its 4th year right now. So the purpose of it is for improving the economic development in Oakland County. through Oakland County, this program is to assist its municipalities by offering the limited matching funds for specific targeted road maintenance and or improvement projects on the roadways. So we submitted our project this year, for a total project amount of $32,000, and the county will match that for about $13,138. And with that project, we plan on fixing North Eddy Street, the entrance of that. There's a culvert that's been exposed, and then we are going to fix some manhole covers off of Market Street, Chestnut Ridge. So we have a few streets that are gonna get repaired this year. Now that they've approved the project, we can get going and get some quotes and estimates in from some contractors to do the work for us.
Okay.
We will, before we spend the money, we'll make sure the county approves their side
Yes.
of it, whatever. I have one more thing. I've met with the chairman of the DDA in terms of our continued road program, and then we ultimately met with the road commission. We're gonna see some work on Pontiac Trail from Welsh, from Welsh all the way down to north, probably South Commerce.
Yep.
So that's gonna get paved. We're gonna get some of Pontiac paved this year, so you're gonna see a lot of activity going on in all, sometimes it's small spots, but that's gonna make a big difference. My goal was to try to get something done, but, the chairman's, he's forceful, but he couldn't get the whole road done, just part of it. At any rate.
We're gonna get the pieces of Pontiac
Well,
Trail too,
piece,
so.
half the
Sounds
local
better,
better
right?
so you're gonna get a pavement, I believe, they've identified from, South Commerce all the way to Welsh or thereabouts, so that on
Yeah,
Pontiac.
I see a lot of marks on the road.
Well, that's what the markers are, we were cooking and we had a meeting with them to confirm that. Part of that meeting also was to talk about getting Decker Road, moved up. They opened that door, and of course, they said exactly what I said at the prior meeting. If you sweeten the pot, they're more than likely to move up the improvements of Decker Road. They were pretty, pleased that the DDA had matched and wanted to move it even with the sidewalks. And of course, they said, you sweeten the pot and then we get it moved up. But I did learn from our meeting, with the road commission is, the manager of Novi, had, I kind of complained, I drive down there going down to the mall and complain about that intersection at 12 Mile. It's like the worst one in all, it's almost as bad as ours over on Pontiac and Maple some years ago. And it's really bad, and it's a bad gateway for them. And I used to tell people who were riding with me, this speaks to the management. Well, I guess the manager's a pretty sharp guy. He went to them and said, look, we'll front all the money right now. And so they're fronting the money, and they actually fronted the money ahead of time because nobody's got that. And they're picking up the money in terms of when they schedule it at a later date, which is another version of doing a deal. And that was the manager. So I give him high praise. I've met him a few times, but he got his counsel to front the money because he said, what I've been saying, that's the worst intersection around other than Decker Road. And so that's gonna get done right away too. And they sweeten the pot, that's the term they use. So if we're gonna get this thing on Decker Road picked up this year or whatever, the sooner the better, we might have to sweeten the pot. If not, we just wait the time out and deal with it in another year. So, that's probably all I got for you today. Tonight.
Well, too, there is no actual amount that is sweetening the pot.
Right.
You just make offers, you keep making offers, and you hope they respond. So there's really, it's like a no-win situation. So you wait until maybe they come back to you because somebody else couldn't do the project. So
The road commission, they're a business entity, they're a group all by themselves. They're independent of the county to some extent, but they're the county. I was pleased that my favorite county commissioner, Long, she showed up and she was here. We had a little chat, and she's clearly on our side. She hasn't been here all the time. She explained why, but she's on our side. She's working for Wall Lake as well.
Yeah, and it sounds like the city of Novi didn't have to put in any extra money other than maybe lost interest on,
I don't know the details of all of it, and how much it costs. We didn't get that deep into it because the meeting with us, and they have to do other stuff. But what they did say is that they fronted the money, which I thought was a significant move. And that means the council had to support it. Manager can have a great idea, but if you don't have 4 votes, you go nowhere. It's always about the 4 votes. So he got 2 votes. They were smart enough to do that because that's damaging. It's a gateway to the community. It's the same issue we got on Decker Road. The gateway to your community is the gateway to downtown. And if you're not fixing that, you're damaging your business community. And that's what he got. You know, and over there, even doubly so because that's the gateway to the mall. And there's big bucks going through it. So he did a good job. And they did a good job, and the road commission worked with him. So we may have that, hold out that hope for Decker Road. But anyway, we got Pontiac going, so that's gonna happen sooner than later. Did we get a date on that?
No.
We know the work, and if you go out there, you'll see the work. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Correspondence. Do you have anything tonight, Jennifer?
Yes, well, you've got those 3 letters. There were three letters that were sent in on the back of my resolution that prompted me to come up with that resolution. One of them was from Aaron Industries. Do you have a copy of that?
I do not, but I will momentarily.
I'm sorry, I thought Jennifer had it.
I'd like to have those read into the record, please.
Okay. Aaron Industries, a May 20th, 2019 letter addressed to Mayor and City Council, the City of Walled Lake, 1499 East West Maple Road, Walled Lake, Michigan, 48390. Dear Mayor and Council members, this letter is to register a formal complaint about the misconduct of City Council member Gabriel Costanzo. I am calling for a formal investigation into the actions of Councilmember Costanzo using the badge and insignia of his city council member to demonize, vilify, and defame members of our business community and other officials by use of social media platforms. I am proud of the City of Walled Lake and the direction it has taken in recent years, and want to continue as a long-term property and business owner in our fine community. The continued misrepresentations about the conduct of our Downtown Development Authority, DDA, board members by Councilmember Costanzo is unwarranted, unprofessional, and is doing irreparable harm to the business interest of our community. Given facts available in the public record, it seems apparent that the actions of Costanzo are ethics violations. As many of you know, I am the newest member of the DDA. I have been on this board for less than 8 months and do not understand motives for this kind of dirty politics used by Costanzo and his political partners. Although I may be the newest member of the DDA, I want each of you to know that I am one of the longest standing tax-paying business owner and resident in Walled Lake. Aaron Industries has been doing business in the city since 1974, and I was born in the city of Walled Lake in 1961. So in one aspect or another, I have paid taxes to Walled Lake for over 58 years. I found it to be compliant to be nominated by the mayor to the DDA board and to be approved by the city council for board membership. I felt that it was an invitation to be involved in growing new and existing businesses in our community. I am a university graduate, and the other DDA board members with whom I serve are high-level professionals with college educations. Indeed, of the DDA board members with whom I serve, one is a lawyer, one is a certified public accountant, another is a licensed general contractor and developer. And there are other board members who are university graduates, who are prominent business owners, and one even serves as assistant to the Michigan State Representative. This group of highly educated individuals has a sound understanding of the Michigan DDA law, the rules and guidelines set out by the state, county, and the city of Walled Lake. We as DDA board members make sound, rational decisions within those parameters. It would never have occurred to me that a Walled Lake City Council member and his cohorts would use social media platforms to purposely misguide city residents regarding the official actions of the volunteer DDA board members. It is unclear to me why the personal attacks are occurring, but he is damaging this community. Councilmember Costanzo stated at the council meeting that he had read the DDA law and that the DDA board's decision to match the grant, to fix Decker Road, a gateway downtown, was outside the scope of DDA authority, yet he suggested that the DDA could spend money in places that is clearly outside the authority of the statute. Councilmember Costanzo also made a patently untrue statement that the state of Michigan funds the DDA, and another untrue statement that he was not given information about the DDA budget amendment that provided DDA funding to match the grant to fix Decker Road. These untrue statements and the unqualified legal opinion begs the question about Councilmember Costanzo's motives, his employment and business experiences, his educational background, and overall his credentials. I want those questions answered. While the DDA has no legal authority or ability to fix any city subdivision, it can do a lot to help the community at large, as was the example of our actions to provide matching funds for the Decker Road Gateway. According to the rules and guidelines we must follow, we may only direct funds for business development, which in the long run helps to fix the community at large and strengthens the business community. Councilmember Costanzo's reckless disregard for truth continues to damage the Walled Lake business community and the city as a whole. I call on this city council to take appropriate action. Sincerely, Stephen A. Atwell, President. Stephen G. Blair, Maurice Parks City, 707 North Pontiac Trail, Walled Lake, Michigan. Walled Lake Mayor and City Council, 1499 East West Maple Road, Walled Lake, Michigan, 48390. Dear Mayor and City Council members, it is time to examine the actions of one of your own. I have been on the Walled Lake DDA since September of 2012. I have been in business in Walled Lake since February 1975. Back in 2012, when I was asked to serve on the DDA, I looked at it as an opportunity to give back to the community by participating. I have been a huge supporter of all community activities for many years. My serving on the Downtown Development Authority, DDA, was an opportunity to attract more business to our great city and help fellow business owners. I have sat through numerous DDA meetings and have paid careful attention to what is discussed during the course of these meetings. Sadly, I read topics reported on social media with absolutely no accuracy as compared to what has been discussed by the businessmen and businesswomen who volunteer for the DDA board. Gabriel Costanzo has used his office as a council member to make numerous posts on social media that were derogatory and false. Furthermore, it is not now, or will it ever be, the DDA's responsibility to direct funds to repair a subdivision within the city. DDA money is used for various activities to promote downtown business development that will benefit the community. I don't believe any member of our city council should be falsely reporting anything on social media and claiming that something sinister occurred during a DDA meeting, a planning commission meeting, or a city council meeting. It is bad enough for the image of our businesses and our community that certain people who are political associates of Councilmember Costanzo are falsely reporting and making libelous posts on social media. But it's even worse when these efforts are fostered by our own elected public official. I love this city and have seen it grow exponentially over the last 45 years. The improvements have made in recent years have been huge. These recent improvements are things we can all be proud of. For a sitting council member to continuously fuel dissension in our city, it is counterproductive for everyone. I ask that this council consider the options for correcting the problems created by this council members and appropriate use of his public office. Stephen Blair, Maurice Parks City. JW Properties, P.O. Box 152, Walled Lake, Michigan. May 20th, 2019. City Council, City of Walled Lake, 1499 East West Maple Road, Walled Lake, Michigan, 48390. Dear Council Member, I am sending this letter to address the comments were made by Council Member Gabriel Costanzo recently. I have served on the DDA as a board member for approximately 27 plus years, 1 year after it was created. The City Council and the DDA have worked very hard together to create an efficient infrastructure and stabilize the business community, all for the benefit of the residents and property owners in our city with great success. I have lived and worked in the city of Walled Lake for over 70 years and have seen a lot of changes. The DDA and City Council have played a major role in creating and maintaining an active and vibrant city. I feel offended that one of our community leaders has such a negative view as to the operations of the DDA and City Council. We have put many hard volunteer hours into the various improvements that have taken place throughout the years. Millions of dollars, not thousands, have been obtained and spent on many improvements in our city. Some being the widening of Pontiac Trail, improved unities along Pontiac Trail and Maple Road, the extension of Maple Road, the streetlight installations, landscaping along the main thoroughfares, improvement to our parks, installation of a public parking lot, historical preservations, creations of a lakefront vision plan, a facade grant program, a sign improvement grant program, and not to mention the many different activities that we have had and now still have, etc. All this so that we can have an enjoyable and safe community to live and work in. I understand that all this communication with negative comments has been generated relating to the City Council and DDA agreeing to use DDA funds to help in the cost of the improvement of Decker Road. This road is so deteriorated and is in such an eyesore to one of the main gateway entrances into our city that it is our obligation to our community to improve this situation as soon as possible. We always check the law to make sure that our actions are within legal limits and have found that this project can be done using the DDA funds. Mr. Costanzo has been to almost all of our meetings and should understand the importance of this project and the method of getting it completed. Mr. Costanzo also should understand and appreciate the commitment of the DDA board members and the City Council members. The improvements to our city would not have happened without the hard work of the volunteers of these members. Our DDA members, city manager, and some council members went to the state of Michigan offices years ago and met with the senators and legislators to obtain the funding for the Maple Road extension, most at their own expense. Without this action, that project would have never happened. My question is, what are you doing, Mr. Costanzo, other than making noise to see that our infrastructure that is in need of much repairs are completed? Where is Mr. Costanzo's solutions to these problems that are confronting us right now? We need to work together to achieve our solution in lieu of causing confusion and controversy. Sincerely, J.W. Properties, Wendell Allen, President.
Thank you.
All this attached.
That's all of the correspondence.
Can I have that back, please?
Yes.
Did the clerk get a copy?
No.
Miranda, does the sheriff have a copy of this?
Thank you.
Okay, next item is attorney's report.
As the city and one of the cities and one of the unions that represents the bargaining units for the city, they've had an ongoing we've had an ongoing disagreement with them concerning the interpretation of certain contractual provisions within the collective bargaining agreement. They concern certain administrative procedures and processes concerning the adjustment of grievances and There are certain steps that the contract calls for, certain administrative steps that the parties have to go through before they get to arbitration. So, because we've had this sort of ongoing, disagreement regarding the interpretation and the application of these contractual provisions, the city has gone ahead and filed a declaratory relief action, asking the court to issue a declaratory ruling as to what the interpretation and application of this disputed contractual provision is. It's not a lawsuit that involves any kind of claims for money damages or anything of that nature. It's simply a product of the two sides disagreeing concerning the interpretation and application of a contractual provision, and asking the court to ultimately make a ruling on what that contractual provision means and how it should be applied. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that we have gone ahead and filed that declaratory relief action in the circuit court. It has been assigned to Judge Chabot, and it's a case that'll probably only take a couple of months to get resolved. So I'll keep you updated as the case progresses.
Okay, that's all?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Unfinished business. We have, the first item on the agenda is proposed resolution 2019-2, and that is to withdraw from the Trailway Management Council. I would think, since we are still in negotiations, it seems to be moving somewhat, that might be appropriate to again table for 30 days.
I don't think so. Yeah. I'll make that motion.
It's important that that gets well understood as far as everybody's participation in that, and how the costs are gonna be divided up going into the future.
Okay.
Right now.
We're still working on it.
Okay, we have a motion to table. We have a second. Roll call, please.
Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Costanzo.
Yes.
Locke,
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 2 is the second reading of C 345-19, the amendment to Chapter 86 of vegetation. Mr. Ambrose, you mentioned that you'd
Yes,
like to
I've
have
been
that tabled as well?
Correct. I've been contacted by two developers in regards to some of the items that might not have been included, or I said items that maybe not excluded in there, that run up the cost of doing these tree taggings with some trees that are considered scrub or necessarily invasive species, that type of thing. So if we could table that for further discussion, maybe we can take a little more look at it to see that it is advantageous for development and not prohibitive.
Is that a motion?
That's my motion.
Support that.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Osnick,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Costanzo.
Yes.
Locke,
Yes.
Lublin,
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes. Okay, under new business, we have the resolution 2019-27 to adopt budget appropriations and levy taxes for fiscal year 2020. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the resolution adopting the operating and capital budget appropriation for funds and levy of taxes for fiscal year July 1/19 to June 30th, 2020, being proposed resolution 2019-27.
I'll support that.
Okay. Is there any discussion? I know we've had a lot of meetings on it. Being no discussion, roll call, please.
Robertson,
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Costanzo.
No.
Locke,
Yes.
Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 2 is the 2019-28 tax millage for summer of 2019. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion, a resolution for the summer 2019 millage request report to the County Board of Commissioners for the annual levy and collection of taxes for the city. This being proposed resolution 2019-28.
Is there a second, please?
I'll support that.
Okay, we have a motion with support. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Costanzo.
Yes.
Locke,
Yes.
Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes. Item number 3 is resolution 2019-29, MERS 457 deferred compensation. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the resolution to approve the city council to authorize the adoption of the Municipal Employees Retirement Systems 457 Deferred Compensation Retirement Program, being resolution 2019-29.
Is there a second?
Support.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. I think the resolution is pretty clear, but Sandra, did you have any comments you wanted to make on it?
Not necessarily, I was just gonna recap if you needed, otherwise.
So I think it's very clear. Is there any questions or discussion?
I still have, I made the resolution, proposed the resolution. This is, we're switching from the individuals into the group. Right now, they're allowed to, I guess I'm not as familiar with.
Well, we all know MERS is our retirement plan, and they have this second option. The city in the past, prior to my arrival, created the same similar programs with ITMA, which is the International City Management Association. We're doing business with MERS now. MERS has moved into the 21st century in terms of administration. They provide a better administrative program. Some of the other ones we got with some of our former employees and current employees. All ICMA we recognize the program. We have to administer that. So what this is an efficiency issue. We can switch, move those people over to that one, and they do all the work for us in terms of keeping up. Right now, I think the finance director will tell you that ICMA is their program, which does the same thing, but we have to do a lot more work. MERS, they're getting into this business. They're the retirement system for the Michigan employees, but they're offering this program. So we believe this is much better than what's offered in the past, and we will encourage people to move over to that. So we need the program for 2 reasons. First of all, some people have that in the contract, and that's what they negotiate for when they negotiate with the union contract and stuff like that. They're moving for that. But we do have outstanding ICMAs. I don't know how many got several. But we're gonna gravitate over to that if we can get it, but if it passes tonight, we expect it will pass. But it's an efficiency issue, it doesn't really cost the city any more money. The contributions have to do with what's negotiated with the unions for employees and what the city does and what they put in. It's a better program in terms of administration, so that's why I'm in favor.
Thank you.
You wanna add to that?
It's really a win-win for both their employee.
Answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, roll call, please.
Costanzo.
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
Lublin.
Yes.
Osnick.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next resolution of 2019-30 is the budget amendment for fiscal year 19. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make the resolution amending the operating and capital budget appropriation of funds for fiscal year 18-19, being resolution 2019-30. Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Locke.
Yes.
Excuse me, Lublin.
Yes.
Osnick.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Costanzo.
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 5, resolution 2019-31.
This would be a resolution approving the cost-sharing sidewalk repair in Chestnut Hill subdivision. I don't know if we have any additional proposals I can pass out. Here we go. We had our director of DPW meet with our homeowners association, I believe he being Mr. Ryan Wood, I don't know if you were there with him, to identify some of the broken sidewalks in need of repair as we continue to create a more walkable community. We've done this with other subdivisions as far as getting into kind of a plus or minus 50-50 split with these subdivisions to help them improve that, their walkability. This just comes out of our road fund. So there's a resolution. I guess, Jennifer, you can go ahead and read that if you like.
Does she have to read the whole?
No, you don't have to. I mean, we've got 2 estimates over here. That's essentially what it is. Don't worry about it. You read enough already. We've got Rita Cement and D'Angelo Brothers over there. I think the D'Angelo brothers do a lot of work for us right now, but, you know, there's only a couple blocks apart, so.
If I might add to
Yes,
that,
sir.
what we're committing to do here is like we did, I think the councilman mentioned it with another subdivision, if you remember Glenwood subdivision, they had some issues, and what we get is they sweeten our pot. We talked about that earlier, so the subdivision, and that's what Mr. Ryan Wood did, he's the president of their association, certainly the representative, and they worked up, you know, what they believe needs to be done. And so they sweeten the pot, you know, some of it's ours, some of it's theirs. We work with them. I sent Mr. Ladd over to work with them and get some prices. I hope we got them down a little bit. I think they came a little higher, but we saved some money. So this resolution commits about $8,000 to that. That's very similar to what we did with Glenwood. So you're touching every in a small way, you're touching every subdivision. And, you know, we're spending $1 million over in Tri-A. So we're working it at all ends, and that's what you need to do. So administration recommends it, and we had a good working relationship with Chestnut Hill.
Okay. Did you make a motion?
I'll go ahead and make the motion that we approve the cost sharing sidewalk repair at Chestnut Hills, resolution 2019-31.
Okay, is there support?
I'll support that.
Okay. Brian, at this time, is there any comment that you wanted to make?
Yeah, sure.
Since it does directly affect your.
I hope it's yay.
You were part of the
Yeah.
negotiations here. Can you tell the council in a little bit?
Yeah, Ryan Woods, 111 Chestnut Ridge, representing the Chestnut Hills Neighborhood Association. We've been working on this for a couple years. The beginning of last year, and we had some of the members of the council, the mayor, and then also some of the city staff come out to some of our city meetings where we talked about sidewalk repair. We went over 2 years ago, trying to look at the common areas. We started out the path thinking straightening slabs and cement would be more cost effective. But as we started to do that, we learned that, you know, to straighten one, you had to go 3 or 4 on the outside to kind of get them to level. So we held up and we said, let's look at what replacement costs are. And by that time, we learned that Glenwood, just north of us, was actually redoing some of their cement. So we made some repairs to our light post. Our sign in the front of our sub. We did a lot of mulch work. We've been catching up on the maintenance stuff that's been behind in our neighborhood. And because we did a lot of work ourselves, we saved some money. So we went in front of our whole neighborhood, held a vote because we required 60% to use our budget. We didn't raise any of the dues. We actually kept it within our budget. And we worked out payments with the cement company to actually have a big payment this year. Less than half would be paid by the city. And then we would pay our final payment in March. So we're able to grab it within our 2 budgets and keep the cost down for the city. And since we're a closed loop sidewalk, separated from Weld Lake, we do get a lot of traffic through our 1 mile walk that goes around. But all the sidewalks are painted green where we're gonna repair. So if you wanna take a look, you're welcome to. Slabs are high and the ones that are cracked. So we're very open on which ones we're getting replaced. We appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, does council have any questions or comments on this? Okay, roll call please.
Lublin,
Yes.
Osnick,
Yeah.
Robertson,
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Costanzo.
Yes.
Locke,
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, last under new business is the resolution as presented by Mr. Osnick earlier in the evening. The attached letters have been read into
This
the
will be
record.
32.
Yes,
Yeah, this is gonna be a resolution of the City Council of the City of Wald Lake directing and authorizing the city manager to make inquiry pursuant to the city charter into the activities and complaints filed against Councilmember Gabriel Costanzo, this being resolution 2019-32.
Is there support for the motion, please?
I'll support that.
Are there any questions or comments?
Yes, Madam Mayor. This resolution calls for the city manager to do the investigation. We have multiple breaches of decorum during the meeting by our city manager towards me, and I do not think he's unbiased to conduct any type of investigation. I will reserve my comments for the council comments. Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments? Roll call, please.
Osnick,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Costanzo. Locke,
Yes.
Lublin,
Yes.
Ackley.
Yes. Okay, next item is council comments.
I don't know. I'm sorry. No, I don't know tonight.
I will do the same.
Alrighty. Bob.
I'd just like to invite everybody who doesn't already know to our parade, which is usually one of the better ones in the area. Hope to see you there.
Okay. Is that all?
That's all I have.
I don't know if your chair is lower or what, but I can never see you over there. Gabe.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I do. I'd like to address the comments regarding our Decker Road project. I believe it's a direct correlation to the emissions in the minutes. At last council's meeting, I specifically brought up, and it's not in the minutes, it was omitted from the record, that the DDA had opined in packet page 112 of last month's packet that they could do that the work could be done outside of the DDA boundary. I had stated, well, if the DDA could make that, as I specifically said, that linguistic leap of faith, to make that opinion decision that we have a more pressing need in our Tri-A neighborhood that's been going on for years. We have a DDA member that sat on the Tri-A committee because of his relationship to the DDA and the impact to the downtown district. I felt and stated that that was a more pressing issue that the city has known about for years in that neighborhood. We should have helped those residents first. They've been more in need with the flooding issue over there and the condition of their roads. That road, just like Chestnut Ridge, that we're contributing funds to for their sidewalk, we just heard that it is shared by throughout the city through that subdivision. We're helping that neighborhood, yet we're gonna let these residents possibly be put into a special tax district and get assessed, as was discussed last year. We should be helping them first. If we could make that opinion that the DDA could go outside their boundary for Decker Road, then I stated that if they can make that a same opinion, that it should go into the Tri-A, and I stand by that. Those residents needed help a lot longer than that Decker Road project. Secondly, the resolution did not specifically count where the $307,000 was. It was asking for over $500,000, $579,000. The Decker Road match was only outlined in it. In our council packet, there was no breakdown of where the remaining $307,000 were. Nothing was presented to council, nothing was presented to me at the DDA. Nothing was presented to this body explaining where that money was. I made a request per the city charter, which is not in the record, which was omitted. I want to know where every dollar was going that was being spent. We voted on it, as I stated before. I thought it was irresponsible without that document being in our council packet, reviewing in advance of the council meeting. Even when we voted on it, nobody had read that document other than a member or two of the DDA. I stand behind that. I want to know where that money was going. The minutes have significant omissions from it, and they appear to be tailored to meet a narrative. I'm not asking for verbatim comments. It could be generalistic of what the topic was about. It doesn't have to be word for word, but when a council member discusses a matter, that should be recorded in the record. I made them during when I opposed the 2 employee contracts, which I thought were fiscally irresponsible and abdicated our duties as council members. I thought it was irresponsible, and I stand by that. And I believe what is going on here is a retaliation, in part because of my opposition both to DDA funding outside of Decker rather than helping our residents, despite a member of the DDA sitting on the Tri-A Infrastructure Committee, as well as my opposition to the employee agreements that I thought were excessive with their fringe benefits, their rates, their salaries, and such. This is when I discussed the employee contracts last council meeting, I specifically asked our city attorney if I could ask, would I be violating any ethics or laws by discussing the contracts? To which, as I'm paraphrasing, it was a matter of public record, we're allowed, I'm allowed. That is not in the minutes. I stand, I fight for this city, I fight for the residents, and I will continue to do it. I will ask the questions, I will not submit my questions in advance to find out where the monies are going. That's why we get the council packet. I stand behind that, and I'll stand behind everything I say. So, 3 members of the DDA oppose, write letters. I stand by my actions. I fight for this city, I fight for the residents, and I will continue fighting. If anybody wants to ask me how I feel, I'm an open book on a matter. I do not hide what I think, who I am, what I believe. I believe we are responsible. I'm very emphatic that I think our city could be much more, and I believe that we have been underutilized in our downtown development. I make no bones about that, and I stand behind that. We should be a vibrant, thriving downtown. I'm sorry, our DDA feels that I'm criticizing. I never criticize them specifically in any way, and I stand behind it. You can read every one of my posts. There's not one criticism of DDA, not one. I've criticized the action of taking the money and putting on a road when we've known about a problem in the Tri-A neighborhood for many years, and those residents have been suffering. I've seen their flooded neighborhoods. I've seen the look on their faces because they're worried about being taxed out of their homes, and I'm not going to do that. I stand behind that, and I'll continue to do that. This resolution, do what you want, I will fight it, but I stand behind my actions and my words. Thank you.
That's all fine, I don't want to go tit for tat over here, but unfortunately, our Councilman Costanza has a very short memory. He sat at the DDA meeting, he heard the discussion. We sit there represented by an attorney, we have a professional CPA, we have numerous bachelor's, master's degrees that sit there. These people have been on the DDA, they've fought more FOSS, been in more discussions than you've probably been in the city. You heard the discussion at the DDA meeting, you asked no questions, you heard the numbers, you still asked no questions. You sat there speechless, emotionless, whatever, with no emotion, just sat there, okay? We went through all our discussion, we voted unanimously to forward this to the council for approval. You get to the council and you act like you never heard this discussion. I mean, that's pretty disingenuous, that's very misrepresentative of the people over here that you're.
Point of order, Madam Mayor.
I can say whatever I want. You have your time, take your 5 minutes, sit there.
Excuse me.
No,
That is a point of order,
okay,
it's a
so-
personal affront during
This
the
is
council comments.
exactly what you said.
It's a personal affront, Madam
Mr.
Mayor.
Costanza, just a minute, Casey. I don't think anybody interrupted you. You made your comments about whatever you wanted to comment and whoever you wanted to comment about. This is council comments. He is talking in response to the comments that you made.
So let me finish. The numbers were available at the DDA meeting. They were all discussed, what the costs were, and what the 5 different categories of money was gonna be spent on at the DDA, okay? It was motioned to the council for their approval. Got to the council, he asked this question like he never saw the numbers. I gave him the actual breakdown from our finance director to what all the numbers were, okay? You took it, what'd you do with it? Don't tell me you never had it. I gave it and I entered it into the motion. Okay, that's part of the motion. What do you mean you didn't have it? Now you're gonna tell these people to go right back over the film. You review the film, I handed it to you.
You threw a piece of paper down.
And what did it say? It was blank? Come on. It had the numbers on it, how it was broken down, okay? So like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and go tit for tat. DDA stands for Downtown Development Authority. It's there for the enhancement, promotion, the development, the improvement of the downtown, okay? That is, Decker Road is a gateway into the downtown. County has no problem with it. We don't know where your grandstand or your problem comes from, okay? if we cannot spend money on subdivisions or into residential areas, okay? That's the bottom line. If we could, we've been happy to do it. We are helping these people. We put additional dollars under our water bill to fix this problem that's been existing for a long time. It's been kicked down the road, okay? This council's stepping up, it's fixing the stuff, it's getting it done. All right, there are no special tax assessments. You went around the subdivision telling everybody about all these big numbers that were gonna go up there. Well, you met with them, didn't you? No, other council members met with them. I had to go around and explain to all these people, there are no special assessments. We're gonna do the water lines. If you want anything else done, then you can sit down and discuss it with us, okay? They said, no, let's just put the water lines in. That's where we're at. No special assessments, okay? That's the bottom line. So, everybody, happy to see everyone at the Memorial Day Parade. Voted some time ago as the #2 best small town parade in the Tri-County area. I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun. We got a lot of people coming down. I believe we have a guest celebrity who will be joining us.
Yes.
I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we do have another great parade coming up in the community, and thanks to one of our local business people, they have requested that Rup Raj from Channel 2 join the council, and that will also give us Channel 2 coverage to this great parade in Wall Lake, which I think is the second largest in the state of Michigan, the last time I heard. You know, there's a few things that I would like to say tonight. I've said before that maybe we have to make these minutes so they just say, this happened, this happened, this happened. If I sat through the minutes and asked the city clerk to put everything in there that I said in a night, and every other council asked to put everything that was said, she probably would be doing minutes for the full month in between the council. The minutes are simply a brief outline of what happens at a council meeting. And if it comes to it, maybe this council should make the decision that it become even briefer than what it has been. So we would not have these insistent arguments about, well, I said this and it's not in here, and John said this and it's not in here, or Tamara said this. It's getting to the point of being ridiculous. Oh, I'm sorry, John.
I'd like to make it.
Well, Casey told me he turned it over to me, he bypassed it.
You sure did.
Well, go ahead, make your comment.
I would like to ask the city manager, how brief could we make these minutes? Could we reflect just the actions that we've taken?
You know, you can write rules, you only have to show the Open Meetings Act and the Public Records Act require you to register what action you took. It doesn't require you to give comments about people who donated. It doesn't require you to put any of that in. There's no requirement. That's a political decision. The clerk can make a decision to leave it out. If you get the motion to put it back in, that's what amendments are for. Robert's Rules of Order that you've adopted allows you to put it back, you know, for the next meeting. But you don't do it and accuse somebody of doing something wrong. You make the motion for the amendment or to add it. If you get no support, then it fails and it doesn't go in there. You can order it up. You'd have to design rules for doing the minutes, which would just register. I think that's a mistake, but you could do that. I think there are, you know, actually the Trail Council, they put a bare bones thing together. If you look at the Trail Council, they put only the motions in. And it leaves out significant events. There are significant events that but you don't put them in. I went to a trail meeting where the man that was mentioned earlier who donated, Mr. Levine, he called this council blackmailers and extortionists. He said it to me, you're an extortionist. That's the man that made those comments. I walked out of the meeting because the chairman of the board was letting that go on. I walked away. That didn't make the minutes. I didn't go in and demand it be put in the minutes. I did get to tell you about it just now. But that is the same individual who the Councilman Costanzo wanted to be in the minutes. They didn't put that part in. They didn't put in that donor called this council extortionist. He accused us of crimes because we didn't fund the trail or whatever. I walked out of the meeting. They put none of that in. Councilman Costanzo was there, and he never he's not a member of the board, but he was there because he's a pro trail guy, which is okay. But he didn't call for that to be put in the meeting. So, in that, I didn't go over a complaint, I just walked out. That's what you do. So you can call for it if you want, you know, I think the minutes are fine the way they are. If you get 4 votes and put it back in, then that's how it works. It's all about 4, 84.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have anything else now that you have the floor?
I hope everybody comes out for the Memorial Day parade and hope to see everybody have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you. To finish my comments, it's not that I want to see this happen to the others. I think the public deserves to get a general outline of what happens. I guess you just reach a point where I'm getting a little tired of arguing over the same issues. And I guess it's a sad day for me in this community when I see letters come to council like came tonight. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, but when you have board members like the DDA who serve for no money, they're strictly volunteers. We have 2 of them here tonight. We have Steve Outwell and Mindy Fernandez, both board members that I've appointed and very proud of their appointment. And it's not the fact that somebody disagrees with their issues, but when you put it out on the internet and the social media and accuse these people of misappropriation of city funds, DDA funds, that's when it becomes very serious. I have no problem with people disagreeing with anyone's actions. That's what we're here for. That's what we live in America for. But don't accuse people of wrongdoing, and I think that is what the members of the DDA are upset about. I know that's what I'm upset about. And again, I think it's a very sad day for Wall Lake. I go around the community, there's business people, there's citizens telling me how great we're doing, how much better the city looks and how things are moving. I spoke to a 5th grade class this week, and they asked me, you know, what was Wall Lake back in, they didn't say it, but back in the olden days, and it's so clean and it's so nice now. So I explained to these children when I came out of college, and I was on the beautification committee, and Mr. Osnick will remember, because I think he and his wife were alongside me with garbage bags, walking West Maple and Pontiac Trail, which a lot of it had ditches back then, picking up debris and garbage that had gathered over the winter. And these kids were like, really? It's so clean now. It's such a nice community. That's all it is. And I'm pretty darn proud to be a lifelong resident of Wall Lake and to be mayor of this community. And I don't like to see our volunteers treated the way they are recently being treated and spoken about. And with that, remember, come to the parade, have fun, and again, I'd like to thank Mr. Millen for bringing Mr. Rupraj. I think it'll be a fun parade, and it'll be great to have Channel 2 there. So we have a lot of people coming out with a look at the list. As always, Wall Lake will be a big parade, and the mayor says it's not gonna rain, so hopefully it's a nice day. With that,
Right?
I ask for an adjournment.
Thank you very much.
To adjourn.